Greetings, Neo-Swedenborgians, and welcome to Out of the Blue Bee, number 214. This brings us to the end of the Out of the Blue series. I'm going to recap, and then I'm going to move on to something new. But I'm going to show you what that new thing is first, and I hope you'll join me. The new thing is taking up fiddle to keep your head together. Kind of like Hugh Chance Papa Toe, the minor league baseball pitcher from the book Brothers K. Hugh Chance set up a little pitching mound in his backyard so he could pitch after work just to keep his head together. And so he was also called Papa Toe. This is kind of the Papa Toe fiddle method. The point of this fiddle method is to keep your head together. So step one is you get yourself a fiddle. Anywhere, anyone will do. Take there's often a thing here which is called the chin rest. Take it off. There's sometimes a thing on the back called the shoulder rest. Take it off. So you end up with a fiddle like this, G, D, A, E. Hold the fiddle here in your right hand. Put it up, let it rest on your shoulder like this. Take a bow, and while holding it like this, just steady, you'll see it hardly weighs a thing. It's very light. Fiddles are mostly empty space. Take the bow and put the hair of the bow right in the middle between that thing, the bridge, and this thing, the fingerboard. See that space, that gap? I'm going to put the bow right in the middle. I'm going to make 4 notes. Listen to it, let it ring. That's step 1. So that's the new thing we're moving on to, but I want to recap what we're finishing up. Out of the Blue Bee 0214. Physiological microcosm. I have here a little map of the Earth with its atmosphere, the inner Van Allen belt and the outer Van Allen belt. Okay, this was discovered by James Van Allen. The Van Allen belts were discovered by James Van Allen in 1958. I have a book which I'll link below, which was originally published in 1916. The copy linked below is the 1917 edition. 41 years before the Van Allen belts were discovered, a writer named J. Hewitt Mackenzie describes a similar thing where you have the Earth, you have an inner ring, and you have an outer ring. He calls them the spirit spheres. And according to J. Hewitt Mackenzie, which I'll link below, when you die on Earth, you move up into the spirit spheres in some place, and your life continues on up there. Ultimately, you're trying to get to this top layer of the inner Van Allen belt, which according to J. Hewitt Mackenzie is called Summerland. This is the spiritualist heaven where the sun is always high in the sky and it's always the beautiful summer day. They call it Summerland. So according to J. Hewitt Mackenzie, published in 1917, there's an Earth with 2 rings of energy around it, invisible energy rings, where we move to when we die. This was discovered in 1958 and called the Van Allen belts. So I've drawn the strange conclusion that the Van Allen belts are the spirit lands and that our earthly life continues in essentially the magnetosphere, in the Van Allen belts. This is, of course, not new. The idea that we move up into the clouds in heaven is not anywhere near a new idea. Swedenborg discussed this very thing in the 1700s. And this philosophy here is called Neo-Swedenborgianism, which is a little bit different in that you do not have to resort to irrational conclusions. What is the rational conclusion? How did J. Hewitt Mackenzie, because he has measurements in his map of miles, and it matches the Wikipedia page in miles. It's a strange thing. Also in the structure, an inner ring and an outer ring. So how did he get all this right in 1917? And my conclusion is he was visiting a physiological microcosm within his own organism, which is to say all of us humans on Earth have within our physiology a microcosm, which means a tiny universe, which is an image of the magnetosphere. So he discovered the magnetosphere in himself. So this is why it's Neo-Swedenborgianism and not Swedenborgianism. Swedenborg claimed to travel to heaven. What I'm saying is that him and the near-death experience people have a hyper-believable experience, but they're actually traveling within their own physiology. It's an illusion that they're going somewhere else. They're actually going inward to visit this physiological microcosm of the Van Allen belts. So that's kind of a recap, and I also want to point out that this Van Allen belt, the outer one, is energy. This inner Van Allen belt is energy. The Earth is a mass, and we all know energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. So this is Einstein's famous equation, which means that the mass of the Earth, if converted into energy, would be a huge amount of energy. The speed of light squared, these are all very big numbers. So here we have energy, here we have energy, here we have mass. The point that J. Hewitt Mackenzie makes is that we move, when our body dies, we move up into these energy spheres, which scientists call the Van Allen belts, and which J. Hewitt Mackenzie calls the spirit spheres. And according to him, the top layer of this one is Summerland, which is spiritualist heaven where the sun never sets. I want to take it one step further, because then the question is, okay, well, what do we do now? Well, what we do now is we think about what we feel drawn to do and what our inner desires are. Because Swedenborg says that once you get to heaven, you can do whatever you want. Well, let's reverse that and say, well, we can create heaven on earth by trying to think about what it is we want to do and what direction we want to take. Even if in the tiniest little area, you just get a pencil and a piece of paper, and you can start writing these things out and pursuing your own dreams and desires, even if it's in a minuscule manner. So that's why I'm playing this fiddle, and I'm saying that this is me setting an example of follow your heart, do what you want to do. You don't have to take up the fiddle. You can just do whatever it is you want to do. Think about it. Get on that path, because as you travel on the path, that desire will get refined, and you'll get closer and closer to what it is you really want to do. But if you want to take up the fiddle for mental health, which is basically what I'm saying, I'm going to end this out of the blue, just like I began it, which is with some J. Hewitt Mackenzie and with some fiddling. And I'm going to say, if you want to join me on the next part of the journey, get a fiddle. Draw 4 notes. You notice this is the G string, so if you're familiar with the fiddle, you'll see that this is turned upside down. So yes, that is what I'm saying. I'm saying play the fiddle, hold it with your right hand, play it on your right shoulder so that the fattest, deepest, lowest string is closer to the earth. It's called Over the Top. Thanks. See ya.